go. Okay. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I changed my office. Can you guys notice that I have moved offices? Not really. It's harder to hide this office because I got the window. But this used to be Jerome's bedroom. He's 11 now, and he was not really sleeping that well. He'd go to bed at about 9:30, and then he'd come up 2 or 3 times and say I can't sleep or whatever. So we moved him in with his sister. I spent all day on Saturday moving his bedroom into his sister's bedroom because she's got the big one. So now they have the big room and they're sharing it quite happily, actually. I'm shocked. And I moved my office into this room. So this is, Mary doesn't know, but I'm getting my house rebuilt. It's right around the corner from where we're staying. But they've just finished the foundation and they're starting framing tomorrow. So it looks like we're going to be in here until the spring. And I have a family of 4, and we have this little tiny house with 4 rooms. So, we're surviving. We haven't killed each other yet. Anyway, shall we get warmed up? Let's do it. And this is the first play-in for me today, besides a little bit of practice that I did earlier on this Mason's apron. So I'm going to check my tuning. Oh, my tuner froze. Damn thing freezes all the time. Okay, let's see how I'm doing here. Jeez, that was dreadful. Okay, that's better. Glad I checked. Okay, so let's get warmed up. So I remember last time we were doing that thing where we did the long down bow and long up bow on each string. I think that's a great way to warm up. So now with you guys that have been kind of going at this for a while, it's going to have a bit of patience while I explain what we're doing to Mary, who's brand new face. And while I'm doing it, please feel free, since you're muted anyway, to go ahead and do what we're going to be doing and get it warmed up a little bit. And then we'll go at it. So, Mary, with something that we do to warm up is to do a down bow and an up bow on each string starting on the G string. Okay? So we do G and then D and then A and then E. And then we go back and do it going this way as well. And the aim of this exercise is bow control. So we want a good start, a good stop, no bouncing or touching other strings or scraping or squealing as if you can. See what I mean? So you're trying to do a perfect start and stop and sound right from one end of the bow to the other. Stop the bow, do the up bow in the same way, stop the bow, move to the next string and do it again. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to work on now. And the object of it is to just get a little bit more control with this here on the bow so that it's, gives you a little bit less extraneous noises and stuff like that. Okay? So let's give it a go there, everybody. Down bow and then up bow, starting on the G string. Perfection. Here we go. Ready, and... Okay, now I had a lot of success that time around. I had a couple of, if I was being really picky, there was a couple of times where I dug in a tiny bit too much. And especially on the low strings, it has this sound. Everybody hear that little pitch drop there? Yeah, and for me, it happened at the end. Because when you get to the end of the down bow, sometimes, you need to add weight because that's the empty part of the bow. There's no weight there. But if you add too much, it does that. It can... See that? And that was just the tiniest bit too much there, okay? So I'll let you guys think about any transgressions you had with your attempt at that perfection, okay? Whether it's the bouncing. Remember what you do about bouncing? You follow the stick into the bottom of the trampoline and you let it out gently like that. See that? To eliminate the bounce. And remember on the up bow, you're going to try to drag the bow up so it goes straight. See that? Rather than like that, crescent shaped, okay? So let's give it another try. I'm going to try to be even better this time. Ready, go. I did really, really well until the up bow on the G, and I had a scrape because I was as I started my up bow, I had this sound. See if I can make it happen. Everybody hear that? And it's because I just missed the timing. When I start my up bow, especially on the low strings, I have to give it a little bit of a touch. See that? Otherwise, it kind of skitters. So there's no weight there. So I have to give it a bit of a. Oh, that was good. Okay, so that's what happened to me. How about you guys? Anybody have some feedback about their long bows? How about you, Mary? How did you do?
Well, I think I did all those problems, like skittering and doesn't sound so good at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
yeah.
A couple of things that'll help at the beginning and the end. These guys have already done it, but I'll show you. Bow push-ups.
Okay.
See that? Now, the way you're doing it, and that's kind of a common way to not do it right. So what I was doing was this here. Look, clutch the bow up into your palm using your fingertips. See that? That's right. That was good. Really good. Yeah. Rather than just turning the wrist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically what you're working on there, look at everybody doing it diligently. That's great. What you're working on there is your approach. See that? To the strings. And it's kind of your landing gear. They call it your touch, right? And different players have different touches. They used to say Jerry had a beautiful touch, Jerry Holland, or, like Buddy, whereas Ashley has kind of a heavy touch. So that's where you kind of get that, and where you can adjust that is this way. So at the beginning, for instance, when you're down at the heavy end of the bow, you need to pick the weight up off of the strings. See that? And then as you're getting near the end, you got to add the weight. See that? Yeah, so that might help. So let's do it again and just play with that idea, okay? The bow push-ups itself is something you can practice by yourself on your own while you're watching TV or whatever, The other thing to do, remember this, guys, is the spider crawl. So you crawl up to the end of the bow, and that's the easy part. Then you crawl up going the other way. Yep, that looks good though. Nice nimble fingers there. You go in the other way and it's a lot harder. See that? And what you're doing here is you're learning how to manipulate the bow using just your fingers and how to hold it with the lightest grip possible. Okay? Because the bow hold is like a trailer hitch and the bow should be loose in there. See that? If it's not, it follows my hand all over the place. See that? Okay, so those are two things that can really strengthen your initial approach to notes and also putting the brakes on, stopping the note. Okay, let's do it again. Mary's going to try this stuff. And I'm going to mute you there, Mary. Okay, there we go. One more time. Ready, go. I did really good that time. Better than usual. How did you do that time, Mary? Was it a little bit better? You're still muted, but you seem to be positive about the whole experience. Okay, good.
Yeah. I didn't know I knew that. That's quite amazing.
Yeah, it's little known. I learned them back in Suzuki when I was a little kid. The spider crawl and the bow push-ups is something that they made us do in Suzuki camp because I was really cool when I was 11 and 12 years old, and I went to string camp in the summer times, Suzuki string camp, really with the cool kids. Anyway, so we would start a class in the morning doing these bow push-ups. See that? And the spider crawl. So those two things we did every day. And I've noticed that it's just really for fiddle players, it's really, really good because fiddle players use mostly the hand to play, right? Mostly just that hand bowing. So those bow push-ups and the spider crawl really improve that dexterity with the hand. Okay? All right, what about a G major scale, you guys? 2-octave G major scale with an arpeggio. And then we're going to do some double stops. Okay, in the key of G. And then we'll work on Wild Rover, because that's in the key of G. Hi, Sharon. I know you're there. Okay, G major scale. Nice and slow. Give yourself time to tune to me. Ready? Go. Was awesome. I didn't get any of them wrong. Let's try the arpeggio. And this is your slow tuning one. So remember, if you feel like you're not in tune with me, press harder. If you're flat, press harder. If you're sharp, let that pressure off and roll back on your finger until you match me. Okay? And if that doesn't work, we'll just kind of, wait till the next note. Okay, let's do it again. So this is your tuner. Ready, go. Oh, sorry, this is the arpeggio. Ready, go. Give myself a 97. My B on the A string was flat, and so was the one on the G string just for a second. It was just for a second it was flat. That's what my buddy Brian says whenever I remember I did his fiddle solo in front of for a brass band, and he was waiting backstage, and I came backstage and he goes, "Oh, that was brilliant, Dan. It only sucked for a second." He's a terrible, man. Anyway, so my scale arpeggio sucked for 2 seconds, and they were both Bs. Okay, you guys know how much harder it is to get that B in tune than all the other notes. Let's do it again for my benefit. Sorry about that, but I'm sure you can use the practice. So tuning to me one more time. Ready, slow. Much better for me. Now, how's everybody feeling about their G major? Do you have to do a lot of tuning, or is it coming in? No, it's getting better? Getting more sort of first try? That's really good. Now, Mary, how was your 2-octave G major? Did you have to do a whole lot of tuning to me?
I've done.
You're unmuted.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I just changed the way I'm holding my fiddle, so I'm out of tune quite a bit, I think. But I watched one of your earlier videos, and I keep my thumb quite low, so
Okay.
I moved it up. So it's I'm having a hard time being in tune, but.
Okay. One thing that might help with that, if you just recently changed to that, is that's a common problem. People have the thumb up here or whatever. For one thing to point out is that you don't need your thumb to play the fiddle. Okay, is that can contribute to putting it up. You know, like this is when we refer to the thumb going this way, that's high and this is low. Just to let you know because of the pitch. So when people's thumb goes up high, I think it's because they feel like they have to press against it. See that? To pinch the notes or whatever. When you don't have to. The fiddle is a cantilever design. So that means that the first finger, or the whatever finger, it pivots on the thumb and comes down and pokes the string. See that? So it's not a pinching like the guitar. Guitar is a clamp behind the fret design. But the fiddle's not like that. It's got this little lever that comes down and pokes. See that? And the harder you poke, the higher your pitch goes. Okay? So if you find you're a little shy of a note, you just press a little harder and she'll go right up to where you need it to be. See that? So that's why that works like that. Now, if you're having trouble moving from the pinching to the proper, try to leave a gap all the time between your thumb and your forefinger. Try to concentrate on that. Then chances are your first finger will come up high enough, and then after that all your fingers will probably follow suit. See that?
Okay.
Because the first finger actually comes down quite a bit higher than a lot of people think. Like, because you got to leave room for a note there, right? That's A flat. That would normally be there. So it's a good like 3/4 of an inch for that first finger. Okay, that might help a little bit. Now, for the rest of you guys, let's up the tempo a tiny bit. Now, this is going to be where you see how you're doing. Okay, so we're going to up the tempo, and you're going to see how you do coming down right the first try. Okay, and I'm just going to mute you, Mary. There we go. So it's going to be like this. Okay, brace yourself. 1, 2, 3, go. Arpeggio, ready, go. Okay, how are people feeling? How did you do? Not bad? Okay, let's do it again right away. That's your reward for doing good. You got to do it again. That fiddle's going out of tune as we speak. That's better. 1, 2, 3, go. One gaff there, my high G was sharp, but I got it in before you guys noticed. So how about you guys? You feeling any better? Oh, that's really good. Really, really good. Now let's do some double stops in the key of G, okay? Mary, did I send you, or did you see the music for the double stop pattern we're doing? Okay, let me send it to you now. Okay, Mary. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm just going to forward this. G major double stops. There we go. That's the one. Okay, I've just sent you that pattern there, Mary. And basically we do double stops using the arpeggio notes in the key that we're in. Because when you play an arpeggio in a key, any two notes from the arpeggio can be played together as a double stop and it'll sound good in that key. Any two of them, okay? So basically, I'll just give you the lowdown if you're looking at it there. We start with the open D and open G. And then we do the B and the D together. And then the opens again. And then the octave, which is D3 open G. See that? And then a third, D3 A1. Okay? And then another octave, A3 open D. And then the hardest one at the top, the fourth, A3 E2. That's the hardest one there, okay? So that's the pattern that we're working with. And these guys, we're going slow. We're taking our time with them. We're doing a big down bow and a big up bow for each set of double stops as we go along, okay? Give you a good crack at it. And just to remind the rest of you guys, I know you already know and you're probably brilliant at it now, but you don't press down to get two strings, you angle until you're on the two strings. And then as soon as you're on there, gas pedal. And you get a nice true ringing double stop. Let's do it, everybody. Down bow and then up bow, and then on to the next one. So open D, open G. Ready, go. A3 open D. A1 D3. D3 open D. Opens. G2 open D. And opens to finish. How are you feeling about the double stops? Anybody having any luck? Medium? It's a hard one. Do you find any worse than others? Tell me what you guys think. Which is the hardest double stop on the list? Do you think the same as me, that it's the fourth at the very top?
Yes.
It's a hard one, yes. What's your second worst favorite double stop?
G to B, G and B.
G and B?
The D3 and the
A1.
A1, yeah.
Yes. Anytime they're, those ones there, D3, A1, yeah. So, excuse me. anytime there's a 2-finger double stop, so a double stop that uses a finger on both strings, the problem is you got to tell which one is telling the truth, right? Which one is out of tune? Which one is in tune? Are they both out of tune? Sometimes that's the case, right? Now with the one that Elaine's talking about, it's very simple. You can tune that D3 to your G string. See that? If it's flat, it sounds like... So you can bring that in, and then listen to me tune the A1 to it. So I'm going to start out flat. Okay, and I'm going to come up until it comes into tune. Everybody hear that come in? I'm going to do it again. Nice, yes, I saw a lot of nodding that time around. That's good. So that's what it sounds like. So you can tell when you're in tune. As long as you know that D3 is in tune, you can tune that A1 to it. See that? And that's the best way to do double stops. Always the best way. Okay, let's do it again. Same thing. Mary, have you got any questions or problems with the double stops? It's probably brand new to you. Yes, you have to unmute. I know, you'll get used to it.
I was okay until I got up to the top, and then I kind of got lost of where the arpeggio was. So.
Oh, I see. Okay, so well, that's just nothing a few hundred times won't solve. So let's just get back to it. Okay, we're gonna do it again, guys. Same thing. Ready, go. Open D. E2, A3. A3 open D. A1 D3. D3 open D. Opens. And opens. All right. Now I saw Debbie. Yeah, you had a huge sneer on your face on the fourth at the very top there. Now tell me something. Which one was the problem, or was it both?
I believe it was the G.
The G.
Right. Yeah.
And which way was it?
It just sounds so shrill and sharp. Like it's painful.
If it was painful, it was probably sharp. Okay?
Okay.
Because sharpness has pain. Flatness has sadness. And sharpness has pain. Physical pain to the ear. So, and also the fourth, that G on the E string, notoriously sharp for most people. It's like it's the bane of people's existence. And the problem is that when you put your third finger on the A string with the proper pressure, right? The 2, because being longer, tends to press way too far down on its own. See that?
Yeah.
And so it drives into that string, especially if you got, like I'm a person, I have small hands, so I need decent pressure with my third finger, like I would say 70-75%. So when I have that full pressure down, that 2 really wants to stick down too much, making it sharp. See that? So when I do the fourth, I have to actively try to relax the finger so that it doesn't push down too much and it isn't sharp.
Okay.
Might help you. Might help you.
And it almost feels like I can't get enough space. Like my fingers don't separate far enough to get that. up high enough?
Now I'm seeing one thing. Yeah, one thing I'm noticing there now is that you have a lot of your thumb sticking up over the fiddle.
Okay.
Now, and if you watch me when I'm playing, you see how much I got sticking up there?
Very little. Yeah, you're down below. Okay.
And see, it makes you able to be up over a little bit more. When you're down like this, see, this is a huge difference, that most people don't realize. But when you got the fiddle in the crook of your thumb, which is a very I know you guys don't do that, but it's a very common misconception at first, right? To put the fiddle right in that crook. So if you have it there, now, instead of coming straight down on the strings, you have to do this flat thing. See that?
Yeah.
And that's way harder to get in tune and to be precise when you got this flat thing happening. So when I put my thumb down there, look what I got now. I got a nice curled hand. See that? And it gives me more access and more, your fingers can move more independently.
Yes.
Does that work for you?
Much. Very much.
Yeah. And the other thing to point out,
I'm resting it right the joint there at the bend of my thumb.
Yeah, it's very common. I think it's because of this misconception when people first start playing the fiddle, they think that they have to hold the fiddle with the hand. And so, of course, that means the best place for it to be is kind of like right in the crook there. See that? Right?
Yeah.
But we don't, as you guys know, and I've banged on about many times, you don't hold your fiddle with your hand. You hold it with your shoulder, right? You play the fiddle with your hand. Okay, so that might help you. I think it's going to help you. The other thing I want to point out is that 2 and 3 don't like to work independently, right? Every time I move my 2, the 3 wants to move. Every time I move my 3, the 2 wants to move. And it's because they share a tendon or something like that. I don't know if you guys ever played this game, but I lived in the country growing up. We got really bored. And so you put your hand flat on a table, right? And the first finger goes right up, no problem. Even the pinky, right up in the air. The ring finger doesn't want to, really doesn't like to, unless the 2 goes with it. See that? So they don't like to work independently at all. All right? I find it really good to just kind of get them to, force them to a little bit. See that? And I do this thing with people. I don't know if I've done it with you beginners, but the intermediate class, we do one half of your hand and the other. Can you guys do that? Have you ever tried to do that? Isn't it hard?
Oh my God.
Isn't that something, eh? They just don't like to do it. Once you practice it, and then it does. It gets really good. And it is so good, especially like for tunes, like Big John McNeil. See that? That was just one half of my hand, then the other, then the other, then the other. For that whole thing. See that? There's so many tunes, hundreds of tunes do that. One half of your hand and then the other thing. So getting them to work independently is really, really good and strengthening. Okay? So that should help your fourth there, Deborah.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else run into something that made them make a weird face like that? Anybody? No? Shared experience, perhaps? Let's have another go at it. One more go with the double stops, then we'll play Wild Rover. We'll work on and then we'll work on Irish Washerwoman as well. Okay, so the same thing, or should we do a bowing pattern? Let's do a bowing pattern. Let's do this one. Okay, let's see how that goes. 1, 2, 3, go. feeling better? That's great. So we'll keep working on it. I wouldn't mind trying to get it a little faster, a little bit more nimble of the hand. All right. Now, Wild Rover. How did everybody do with Wild Rover this week? We learned it last week. I thought we could practice it this week. We'll play it a few times and then I'll get some reactions from people and see how you're getting along and everything like that. Where is Wild Rover here? Downloads, I bet. Yes. Yes. All right. Geez, I'll be playing this music pretty soon, the way they're opening things up. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. I don't know if any of you guys were able to catch the North Atlantic Drift live stream for Robbie Burns from Dora Keogh's Fine Irish Pub there. Unfortunately, I apologize. I didn't know, but when I listened to it afterwards, the audio was quite pixelated. For the internet connection, I guess, wasn't that good or whatever. So that was kind of a drag. But I'll tell you, we had a lot of fun doing it, and it was hilarious to make Brian do the address. I thought he gave it a really good effort. He got about 2/3 of the way through, and then he gave up, you know. But it was a valiant effort for a Sligo man to do it. So anyway, okay. Oh yeah, and they changed the name of Dora Keogh. The lady who owns it, she's a Newfoundlander, and her name is Jane Noonan. And so now the name of the pub is Noonan's, which is kind of I told her it's great that she has such a good name for a pub. But the problem is that she bought the place 1 year before the lockdown. Okay. And so she's been kind of really struggling the last couple of years. And of course, there is a lady, Dora Keogh. She's great. I've known her for decades. And her and her husband owned Dora's before Jane bought it. And also the restaurant next door, Allen's, which I highly recommend. Anybody that's in the Toronto area, eat at Allen's. It's like the best food ever. John Maxwell, who owns it, he raises the cattle himself. Okay, it's an amazing place. But anyway, so they own Dora's, and so they charge a licensing fee for the use of Dora's name, because it's just if you want to use somebody's name, that's what you have to do. And Jane said that she couldn't afford the licensing fee after being shut for almost 2 years. So she changed the name, and I think it's a really nice name. So now it's Noonan's. Speaking of which, we'll do a little Wild Rover. So let's go nice and slow. There's no reason to be fast. I mean, I've never seen a rover that moved fast. You think that's a doable tempo there, guys? You think we can try that? See what happens? All right, let's give it a try. If anything goes wrong, we'll look at it. Nice and slow. A 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. try it more, but I want to check in. How's everybody doing with Wild Rover? Are you having any problems? And if so, what are they? Anyone?
I think on the notes, I get a bit mixed up on those 8 notes on the first and second line a little bit, and I feel like my bow's going in the wrong direction a lot.
Okay, yeah.
At times when I get messed up on those.
Yes. Now they have little slurs marked in with the. You mean the? Do you mean the like in the second bar there with the F and the E? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so in this version that I found on the internet, I gotta say I don't love that aspect of it. It's not really what I hear when I hear Wild Rover. That sounds kind of like a fancy idea. You know, usually it would just be the E, right? See that? So keep that in mind, but I would do the little slur that they have marked in there. That might help your bow. Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that works out well. See that? Because, and the reason I say it works out well is because it landed me on a down bow for all of those great big giant long notes. See that? That take 15 minutes to play. And you want a down bow for that, right? Because the down bow is the easiest kind of way to make it long and strong. Okay, does that help? The other thing I might add about, and this is always the problem with songs, right? When you're doing a tune that is also a song, there's always so many different versions. Like you hear 3 different Wild Rovers on the radio and you're going to hear different, slightly, interpretations of that melody, eh? So with the eighth notes that are in the rest of it, take it with a grain of salt. It's not the most important thing if you don't get them right, because I've known lots of people that do Wild Rover like this. See that? Really straight. See that? I've heard that lots. So whatever way it comes out is going to be your way. But just to let all of you guys know, I'm going to exactly play what's written. Okay? So if you're playing along with me, you're playing exactly what's written, which is also good.
So in general then, would you say all of those long, like the notes that are tied, like it's got the dotted half and then the half note or dotted half and a quarter, you'd be aiming for a down bow on all of those notes?
Correct, yes, because your down bow is your strong note.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks.
It gets a little dicey later because you got 2 of them in a row. Obviously, you can't go down for both of them there in the no-nay, right? But for the most part, yeah, I'm doing them in a down bow, and for me, I'm managing to be able to do them in 1 bow. All right? If you can't, you go ahead and turn your bow around. All right? It might mess you up a little bit for whatever comes next, but if you need that extra length, it's far better to get used to holding the note for its full length than it is to sacrifice that for your bow. Because it's one of the main things people have problems with is cutting off those long notes short. So just go ahead and turn that bow around and then turn yourself around again later. Okay? That was a really good question and comment there, Julie. Anybody else have anything like that they want to need help with? How are you doing with it there, Mary?
Okay, but can you, I don't have the timing right for the nay, nay, never.
Okay, so, okay. See that? So if you're picturing yourself in, say, Dora Keogh's Fine Irish Pub on a Saturday night, then during the never part, when you're holding that big long D, that's when everybody in the bar would be going, okay, does that make sense? Or as they do it in McVeigh's Fine Irish Pub, right up your kilt is what they say during that big long note. Okay? So that's what's going on there. And then you come in with there's a rest. See that? That's with the next no, nay, never. Does that make sense?
It's like 4 claps and then that rest. And then
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the 4 claps are going to be the measure that has the long D, that's 3 beats, and then the rest as well. That's the fourth one. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, nay, never, no more. Okay? Hopefully that helps. Anybody else? That's a very good question. Anybody else having any problems before we try it again? All right, let's do it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go to. Let's do it again. One more time. All right, how's everybody's Rover doing? Is he still wild? Doing pretty good? Any other bits or pieces that are bothering you? Because I'd like to try playing it a little faster, if it's going to be possible, okay? Although, you know, it depends on the singer, but you might go a little faster than that, than what we just did, for sure. But not much, because this is not one of those really fast songs, you know? Especially it's a waltz. Waltzes are generally a little bit slower. Any problems before we try it a bit faster? All right, let's do it. Helmets on, guns up. So let's see. Let's try doing it, say, like this. Okay? Something like that. Let's see what happens. We'll do it a good couple of times. 1, 2, 3, go to. it go? How'd the faster go? Reasonably well? Good. Okay, so practice it up at that tempo. If you're having no problems, practice it up at that tempo there. And next week we'll see if we can dress it up a little bit. You heard all the double stops I was putting in there. And I only used a couple that you guys have not done. Okay, just a couple. So just something to keep in mind, so ways to dress it up. Any questions or comments or concerns or complaints about Wild Rover before we put him to bed for the evening? No? All good? That's great. So now the other one we're working on in the key of G is the Irish Washerwoman. And it's trickier than one might think. So let's have a look at that. Have you ever played Irish Washerwoman before there, Mary?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm glad you're getting it in.
No.
And this is another one. There's many versions of the Irish Washerwoman, but there's two main ones. And those two versions happen to be like, the difference is that in the second part, one version goes up high. And in this version, it stays low. Okay, it does everything down the octave. Now, they're kind of equally used, both versions, but you might have heard the one that goes up high. But if you have heard it, it's just exactly what this one does, except one octave up.
Okay.
Okay, and it's fun to do. We might move on to it at some point, do that as well, strengthen that whole key. Anyway, so I know we had gotten to kind of an energetic Turtles pace with this one. The last time we were going off there, one that's been taking care of himself, living good. Hey, I got COVID. I was bragging last time about my clean living. My whole house had COVID, and I didn't happen to get it. I thought I was like the best, most lucky guy in the world. And then on Thursday, when we did the live stream, I had a dentist appointment, and in the late morning, and I went, and I'd forgotten that she was replacing a filling, and it was kind of depressing. I hate that when I think I'm going in just for a checkup. The next thing you know, she's like, bite on this, and so, and she froze me. So when I went to do the live stream, I felt this side of my face felt a little funny, and I just thought it was the freezing coming out. I hadn't had a filling done ages and ages. And then, so we did the live stream, had great fun. The next day, I was still feeling it. And by the midday, I was feeling like something was going on. I had a runny nose, and I felt tired, very tired. So I did a COVID test, and it came back positive. And I was shocked. And then the next day, Saturday, all day I felt fine. And then also on the Sunday. So then on Sunday night, late on Sunday night, I did another test, and it came back negative. So I figured that I must have got it from Jen and the kids while they had it, and I just didn't notice until the Thursday, I guess, or the Friday, I guess. But anyway, we're all clear now. But yeah, it was like that. Miss Mary.
Can you send me that music?
Oh, sure. No problem.
Yeah, I was watching.
Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I was all overconfident, I guess, telling everybody it was the clean living. Okay. Where is this Irish Washerwoman? Downloads. Here it is. Okay, there we go. I gotta say though, it didn't really amount to much in my house. Jennifer suffered the worst, and she really didn't think she suffered that bad, so we're very lucky, really. Okay, so now, you got that, Mary? It should be there as soon as it gets a second to come back from the satellite dish. Okay. So let's see, an energetic tortoise. Think we can handle that speed there, guys? Let's give it a go and see what happens. A 1, 2, 3, go 2, 3. Again. All right, that was a long stint. How are we doing? Anybody having problems with it? We worked on this last time. We worked on this move here. And making sure to just use the hand rather than the arm. That's the big thing. And so for a lot of people, I get them to play in the doorway. This is my doorway, my old record player. So put your elbow kind of against the door frame, not touching it, but just in front of it. And then if you do use your elbow to change strings, you feel a bump or a rub, and you're doing it. And for a lot of people, like just having it there makes them do this instead of that. I don't know why, but anyway, it might help if that's something that you struggle with. Many people do, that's for sure. Anybody having any problems they want to talk to me about before we try it faster? Because that was the slowest washerwoman I ever heard. She's never going to get the clothes done. No? Okay, let's speed her up a little bit. I actually remember my mom, who had 12 kids and started early, 1956, had a wringer washer. I cannot imagine doing all those clothes in the wringer washer. Like, she had 7 boys under 7. How do you do all those clothes in the wringer washer, And she didn't even drive, because women in the 50s didn't often drive. And so she had a sled. It was a toboggan, and she could line up the kids on the toboggan, and then my brother Jimmy, who was my oldest brother, would be walking next to her, and there would be one of us in her arms. And that's how she fit all the kids onto the sled. And then one day she came out the door, and the sled that was on the front porch was gone. And I remember she told me that story, and I was like, oh my God, that's awful. And she said, yeah, but I think I know who it was. And she had 8 kids under 8 and no sled. But eventually she learned to drive. And then proceeded to put a car in the ditch every winter that I knew her, anyway. Okay, so we're going to try it a little bit faster. It's going to be kind of like this. Alright? And if you stumble, just don't worry about it. Just hop in at the beginning of the next phrase. Okay? Let's do it. We're going to play it twice. A 1, 2, 3, go, 2, 3. Now everybody seems to be just clicking along just fine. Now, tell me, who feels like that's the top speed for Irish Washerwoman for them? Sharon thinks so. Now, what happens there, Sharon, when you try to go faster than that? What's the thing that happens that stops you?
I think I get out of tune. So when I'm doing the B G B, I'm out of tune, and then that screws me up.
Yes.
So then I end up not catching up, and it's good. The worst part is the last line where I'm going down to the G string.
Oh yeah.
I can't be in tune, and then that just.
Okay, so I'm gonna say.
Right.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna say a couple things. First of all, being out of tune, I find, is one of the worst things for the bow arm that there is. These guys have heard me say it a million times, but your right arm is a better tuner than your tuner. Your right arm knows if you're not in tune, and it's like a horse at the water, it won't go. Because it doesn't want that horrible flat sound to come out. Basically. So it stops. So for a lot of people. And it's just a no-go. Right? You're just going along, and you're kind of... and that's it. And then you've moved on. Now you're lost. You have to catch up or whatever. So I find, because I bang on about intonation a lot. And I'm a fiddle player. All these fiddle players you see on the wall behind me, none of them played in tune 100% of the time. I mean, we're fiddle players, right? But I find it to be the number one thing in the way of going fast and feeling confident, So that's why I find that just getting it up in tune can make your bow arm move and free up, right? Now, so that's the first thing. So you're absolutely right about that, Sharon. And it's good that you're noticing. That's to me, that's a big positive that you're noticing that. That third finger, how many times do we have to play it in this tune? It's like 2/3 of the tune is D3, G on the D string, right? Which is G4 on the piano, fourth G up from the piano. And that one is notorious for flattening, okay? Chances are, as you're going along and you're hearing that repeated G, it's getting flatter and flatter as it goes along, okay? One way that I battle that is to just leave it down. I'm very lazy though. I'm a fiddle player. I haven't had a job in 20 years. If I only move, if I absolutely have to, right? So when I'm playing the Irish Washerwoman, check out my hand. See that? Not even to get the A3 do I pick it up. I just lean. It's like when my boy doesn't want to get off the couch to get his drink. He does unbelievable yoga to get his drink, but he won't get up off the couch. That's me with my finger. So I just leave it there as much as I can, especially in that last line like you're talking about. Watch my hand. See that? Barely moved. So that's the first thing, leave it down. The second thing is assume it's flat, okay? Because that's usually what happens. And the reason you notice it is because you're hearing the G repeatedly, so you can compare it to the last one, right? And you can tell that you're getting out of tune. So assume that it's flat. When you're flat on the third finger notes, it's almost always because you're shortchanging the distance between 1 and 2. See that? That's a gap. That's a full step there. So exaggerate it. Assume you're going to be flat and exaggerate that gap every time. Okay? We'll see if that helps. But you make a very good point, and I'm sure it's a shared experience. Anyone else? When we go fast, what happens? Or is it all good? How about you, Lena? You're making a duck face.
It's kind of the same thing that was happening in the video. I find I touch other strings quite a bit in this tune specifically, and it's a bit squeaky.
And squeaky.
But
okay.
actually, that last time that we did it was much better. So I think all those takes that I did the other day were good.
Well, and your last take compared to the one before, It was much better, eh? Like a lot less touching other strings. You were mentioning that you were too far down. That you noticed on the video you were too far down. Very, very susceptible to touching other strings the further down you go. The second time you did it was up here. It was way better. Actually, I didn't hear any, you know. But that being said, this tune happens mostly on the A and the D. They share the same plane of motion, right? It's not like the E that's a drop straight up and down or the G that's up in the air. They both go along the same lines. So it's good to differentiate them. It's good to get a little bit better at them. So I make people do this. In the doorway. Abba, Mamma Mia. Now trying to be nice and clean, of course. Like if it sounds like this. That's not good, right? So, and if that's the case, break it right down. One thing about string changing that a lot of people miss is that you always change before you play. You never change strings as you're playing, right? You always do it before you start playing the note. So, not... See that? Yeah, so separate it. So when you're doing that exercise, move, 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 like that. Make sure you're doing like that, not like... See that? You want to be more precise. A little bit of attention to that on the D and the A seems to go a long way to being on one and not the other. Okay? Is that going to help you? Anybody else want to describe their difficulties to me? You having any problems there, Mary?
Yes, I was going to say, like, I'm trying to do this, like you said, because I usually keep my fiddle here.
Okay.
The more I play, the less I remember to do that, and I'm kind of all here by the end of it.
Ah, yes, yes. Well, that's normal with technique. I'm a Catholic, so it's a lot like religion. Everybody's really good at the beginning of Lent, but about 3 weeks in, you start backsliding a little bit. You know what I mean? So you have to refresh and renew your efforts. So if you find you're kind of coming in like that, just up and out, and remember also that the fiddle doesn't go out in front of you like this. It goes off to the left. It sits on your shoulder. Okay, oh, that's good. That's perfect there, see? Now, if you find that you're kind of going like this, it could be that you're actually, when the notes start flying around your helmet, that you're actually kind of starting to hold it with your hand or grip it with your hand. And that can make you kind of go do this. See that? So you want to make sure that you got no hand holding it, that it's just your... Now that looks like, yeah, okay. Now that's sitting pretty good there, but the fact that you put it up and it wants to go like this right away, you might mess with your shoulder rest a little bit more.
Okay, so I could never hold that. I mean, it would fall off.
Yeah, you got to mess with it. Like it depends on the person, eh? These shoulder rests, they're adjustable in 3 ways. The height is adjustable, as you know. So if you have a long neck, which you seem to have kind of a longish neck, so you might want to make that bottom one, make the leg a little longer so it comes all the way down to your chest. See that? Mine is almost all the way out. See that? To come down to meet my chest. So there at rest, it's there solidly now. For you, it looked like it was kind of up in the air and then coming down to rest somewhere about here. Okay? If you need to pick that side of the fiddle up, you can also adjust it with the angle of your shoulder rest. See that? So when you put the wedge in further towards you, it changes, it kind of drops. It drops down. See that? So I have mine, my angle is kind of like this. See that?
Yeah.
And it depends on the person, of course. It depends on your neck and your fiddle. But the end result, what I always show people is the end result. These guys have seen it a million times. To hold your fiddle should be very simple. 1, 2, 3. If it's not, you got to keep messing with it.
Okay.
Okay, does that help?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right. Okay, guys, one more crack at it at that same speed. If anybody has anything to ask me, I'll pipe up. Okay, we're going to get washing. Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, go, 2, 3. One more time from the top. That was a clip. How's everybody feeling? You still played the whole time, so that's a good sign. Everybody doing okay? Might have been a little challenging, but yes, jeez, God. Is it your right hand that gets sore there, Lena? Yeah, for me, it's always the left hand. It's just desperate. I got to do all this stuff here to keep it at bay. Oh my God.
That's the time I've ever broken rhythm and doing it differently. Like instead of going 1, 2, 3, I was doing 1, 2, 3, like down, up, down, up.
Okay. Now, I like your idea
I know I never did it intentionally. It just, and then I got frantic when I realized I'm doing it weird.
You know why you're doing that though, Deb? It's because it makes it take on a bit of a jig rhythm.
Okay.
Okay. Now the thing is that you're never going to get a chance to do all that slurring in a regular jig when we get up to speed. But I really like the idea that your arm is starting to try to make that rhythm. It means that you kind of understand what a jig should feel like, and your arm is trying to make that happen. So that's really good. What's hard about the jig rhythm is the turning around to do it the other way, because you're basically saying that you can get it going like this. You see how that is making a nice emphasis there? But the thing is, you got to be able to do it going up as well. So watch this. See how that works? Yumpata, yumpata, yumpata. Now, when I do it like that, it doesn't sound like very much. But when I speed it up, you really start to hear the jig rhythm. See that? Which is exactly the rhythm that you were describing. See that? Except slower, and your arm was finding a way to do it. See what I mean? So I'm really happy that you're hearing it and you're feeling it. Try not to slur. Okay? It's going to look like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. See that? Big as much bow as you can, because that's the accent. And that's how we play louder, is more bow. So as much bow as you can, and then the little bit that's left over is enough for the next two notes. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? Now that's kind of a long range forecast for you, but I'm just letting you know that so that if your arm starts to do that again, it have a little direction.
Okay.
Okay? Good to hear though. Very good to hear. Anybody else have anything they want to comment on about that speed? How are you doing there, Mary? You hanging in there at that speed? That's good. I see that you're a user of the pinky.
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. That's good. Means somebody taught you something at some point.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's good. Yes, Bill?
Is that a jig?
It is a jig.
Yeah.
6/8.
6/8, yeah.
6/8 is jig.
6/8 that are jigs, but I didn't think of that as a jig. But
Yeah, if you hear it, you don't often hear it up to speed because it's usually played as some kind of caricature of something. So, but when you play it as a regular jig, which it is, it's Scottish. See that? Jiggity jiggity. Get the arses moving and everything. So yes, it is a jig. Okay, so we'll leave that there, guys. And were we going to put something with it? Was that the plan? I can't remember. I was puzzling while we were playing. We were going to do Cock of the North with it or something like that? We were. Let's practice Cock of the North. Okay? And we'll smash them together. But we'll practice it for now. I'll send it to you, Mary.
Okay. This class is very fun.
Oh, good. Glad you enjoy it. Fiddling is supposed to be fun. That's for sure. Okay, I've just sent you that. Oh, it's got a lot of stuff on there. Eyes the Buy. Hey, we should check that out again sometime. Jeez, it's been a while since we tried that. That's an easy one. Eyes the Buy. And I've been hanging out with Newfoundlanders so much lately. I feel like it's a good idea to play it.
Dan,
Yeah.
it's Elaine here.
Hi.
Before we start this, can you just go through the endings on the A? Because it's all together here, and
It's the
I just-
stupidest thing I ever saw. It's in Sandy's
I know.
book.
Drives me crazy.
I know. I don't know who originally did it. Well, it's definitely professionally done, but It's just the worst way to do it ever. But so you're looking at the A part. Do you see the last bar of the A part?
Yes.
The notes have stems that face both up and down. Okay?
Right.
The ones that face down are the first ending.
First ending. Okay.
The ones that face up, which is basically just a little scale up, right, from C, is the second ending. Okay? Because, and the reason is because we scale up to that A that's in the second part there.
Okay.
So,
And we don't play the E, that first note on the second ending. We start with the C. Is it C or?
no, the first note is an A, but it's only an eighth note. Whereas in the first ending, it's a long A.
Long note. Okay.
So the second time around, it's just a short one, and then you're on to the C up the scale.
Great.
Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense to all
Yes.
you guys? I don't know why they did it that way. It was very, very confusing. Usually you see a first ending on its own and a second ending on its own. See that? And you got the little 1 with the line and a 2 with the line. So this is unusual, but it is from Sandy's book, so I thought it would be good to educate everybody. You're going to run into it again. Okay, let's give it a try. Nice and easy. You don't have to go fast. Go nice and slow. So we'll try it kind of like this. Okay, that's a reasonable speed there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. How's everybody feeling about the Cock of the North? Not too bad? Okay, we've been doing it a little while now, so now let's see if we can smash them together, okay? We're going to play each tune twice. And when talking about the transition... Okay, see you, Shona. Great to see you, man. No problem. So let's see, the transition... So we got a little rest there. We got a little respite. Because the last note of the Irish washerwoman, if if I'm not mistaken, starts on or is a long note. So it gives us a little bit of a breather there before we start the Cock of the North. And we're going to take that breather, okay? So I'll show you again what that's going to sound like. It's a really nice change. It's going to be nice and bright. So let's do each tune twice, okay? Each tune twice in the Cape Breton style.
Wait,
Whoa.
sorry, I have a thought.
Yes.
Last time we put them together, we chopped off the last D3. Are we still doing that? Or is it just cutting out all the D3s?
No,
Doing the D3.
we're doing the D3. Yeah, we're the last D3 is a long note. See that?
Okay.
So we're using that long note. We're going to play that whole long note, and then yeah, that's right. Okay, does that work?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Helmets on, guns up. Ready, 2, 3, go. 2, 3. great set. That's going to be great. We get it up to a decent speed. It's going to be a really, really good set. Okay. So what I would suggest for that to that end, practice it at the same speed that we just did all week. Don't bother going faster. Okay. Because you guys all seem to be going along just fine and not having any problems, right? And that's the most important thing when you're practicing. Practice at a speed where you can get it right, for God's sakes, you know? And then next week we'll try it fast and we'll see. We'll keep an eye on what goes wrong and see if we can address those things so that it doesn't get in your way. So practicing those two tunes at exactly that speed that we just did is going to be the best plan for the whole week. You got your double stops, you got your arpeggiations, and you got your Wild Rover. Okay, and with the Wild Rover, that one's not too as hard. So we're going to do things like sound quality and playing in tune. That's the opportunity for those tunes, because the nice thing about the tune songs, the song tunes, is that you're already familiar with the melody. You're not guessing as to what comes next. So that gives you the opportunity to get the note in tune and try to make the best sound you can. See? That's why we're doing that. So those are the things I want you to work on with Wild Rover. All right? And we forgot about Skyboat Song this week, but we'll do it next week. Okay? We'll practice that again with that in mind. Because for a lot of people, you guys are probably getting much better at that one. I'd like to see it. Your mom's looking for a singer. What kind of a singer, Lena?
I don't know.
Yeah.
She just texted me and she told me to ask you, and
Sure. And where does she need a singer?
I think it'll be like Aurora area.
Oh, okay. I can deal.
I think it's for a funeral. Irish.
Oh, Irish. Yeah, I got a few people in mind. Sure. I'll email her.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay, fiddlers. Everybody good? You know what you got to do this week? Excellent. Great class. I worked you hard. Thanks a lot. Okay, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And then
Nighty-night.